AAA games really worth your hard-earned cash? They're the blockbusters of the gaming industry. The Hollywood hits, big budgets, top-notch graphics, and A-list voice actors. But does all that glitter turn to gaming gold? Sometimes they push the boundaries of storytelling and set new standards for development, but the higher the expectations, the harder the fall. And oftentimes, these games fall hard. So, are they worth your hard-earned cash? Let's dive in and find out. There's a strong case to be made for AAA games. Imagine stepping into a world so vast and detailed it feels like a second reality. That's the magic of these titles. With blockbuster hits like The Last of Us and Cyberpunk 2077, we've seen the pinnacle of what gaming can offer, showcasing the best in graphics, storytelling, and gameplay. Let's take a look at some of the pros, shall we? Immersive worlds, just like a well-crafted movie scene, transports you to another universe, offering an escape to worlds filled with wonder and brimming with curiosity. With cutting-edge technology, they push the boundaries of gaming hardware, often becoming the catalyst for innovation in the industry. And their high production value means that the level of detail from voice acting to motion capture sets a high bar for quality, establishing growth and pushing the industry forward. But perfection comes at a price. The cost of AAA games is not just monetary, it's also about the time and resources poured into them. As a customer, it's sort of like buying a luxury car. It's exquisite, high performance, but not necessarily the most practical choice for everyone. And as a consumer, it's sort of like dining at a five-star restaurant. Whereas the meal's a culinary triumph, it might cost more than the $10 burger that would solve the same craving. Luxury comes at a cost, and the price tag can be steep, making it a significant investment for gamers. This correlates with the long development time required, as these games can now take up to years to develop, sometimes decades, which can lead to high expectations, high costs for the publishers, and more recently, just complete and utter disappointment for everyone else involved. Games like Suicide Squad, they have massive budgets and unlimited resources at their disposal, but the gameplay was hindered and nobody wanted to fucking play it. With pressure from third parties, be it executives or just personal egos, these games often get rushed out the door, and with complexity comes the risk of bugs and glitches, which just further disintegrates the gaming experience. But then you get games like Red Dead Redemption 2 that set industry standards, but also spark debates about crunch culture and the sustainability of these massive projects. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword, the pursuit of excellence versus the well-being of developers. But it's not just that. Take a look at a game like Redfall. Even after taking steps to address these issues, Arcane Austin's vampiric co-op shooter faced criticism for its core design and gameplay loop, which players found generic and repetitive. Generic and repetitive. Those are the two words that I feel best describe the most overarching problem with today's AAA offerings. And there's no shortfall of examples. Just look at the fucking cringeworthiness of Forspoken and the Saints Row reboot, the lackluster progression systems in Atomic Heart, and Starfield. Oh god, fucking Starfield. Starfield added an entirely new dimension of its own to the absolute nothingness of space. These are the guys that made Morrowind. These are the guys that made Oblivion. Like literally the first game I played for Xbox 360, I was blown away. Skyrim, right from the get-go, the opening scene. You're on a cart in the middle of fucking nowhere. Some random guy's talking to you. Find out you're about to get executed. Someone starts freaking out. A dragon swoops down. All hell breaks loose. You're running for your life. You got to decide which way you're going to go. I mean, this is the type of shit that you should be leading with. I mean, right from the beginning with Starfield, the opening sequence, you're going down a fucking mine shaft. Riveting. Mining for God knows what. Nothing's explained to you. You come outside, talk to a bunch of people. It felt like a step backwards. And it also just doesn't make any fucking sense. Like on a side note, if this is my first day on the job, why am I the most advanced fighter when the fucking fleet shows up? Nothing was innovated on. Yeah, it looked a little bit better, but the decision trees, the effect on the storylines, the gameplay itself, it was just no joke. The 20 minutes in, I'm like, what the fuck am I playing? What is this? Where is this going? And I already knew where it was going. You know, before the game even released, it came out that there was invisible walls on the planets. You couldn't explore the entire surface. You couldn't even fly from planet to planet. This is a AAA game? I mean, shit, No Man's Sky is an indie game, and you can do all the things I just complained about. And yeah, granted, it had a lot more years of development, but it had a shit ton less money and a lot smaller team. There was even an article that came out about it that said straight out, the team was rushed. Executives wanted to get the game out the door. They didn't know where to end it, and they cobbled together what we got was the ending, which I didn't get to. And I watched my friend play it. I saw what, the ending from his point of view, and the first thing I said to myself was, thank God I didn't freaking continue playing this. I mean, there's a simple answer here. It's not like trying to find the Ark of the Covenant. Just don't make the games this way. Really. Don't scope your teams in a way that takes 6 months to get a fucking tree asset approved. Don't build your gameplay loop around a to-do list as if I was employed by the game I just purchased. I mean, encourage the teams to embrace the art and experiment with the gameplay, and don't treat the games as just another logo to add to a fucking slide during the next shareholders meeting. It's not just Starfield either. I mean, I remember feeling this way 10 years ago with Destiny 1. It was the first next-gen game on the PS4 from Bungie, going to Sony after being at Microsoft, ending off the Halo series with one of the best Halo games ever with Halo Reach. each. And 6 hours in, campaign ended. And the first thing I said to myself is, nah, that can't be it. That was it. I think it was after the third or fourth DLC, the curtain starts to get pulled. You see the business model behind the gameplay, and it really diminishes the experience. How about when Destiny 2 released and everything was erased? And I think all these things and more is why people generally just have such strong support for the indie game market and would really hate to see it infiltrated by the larger AAA studios. That's why I thought it was great to see the public outcry of the Dave the Diver nomination for Best Independent Game at the Game Awards this year, or last year. Yes, the team behind it is a small group, but they're owned by $1 billion corporation. Regardless of that, I think it was still a good thing that people called out the publications for just blanket terming this as an indie game without providing any sort of context, because I think the more information given to gamers, the better, and it just might make another $1 billion company think twice before trying to snag a quick trophy with the sole intention of, once again, adding it to a slide in a presentation for their shareholders with the one goal of making more fucking money. I mean, you got this guy from the Game Awards, and I quote,
"Independent can mean different things to different people, and it's sort of a broad term, right?"
Ladies and gentlemen, that is a long-winded way to say absolutely nothing. It used to be that a AAA game meant that it would be a surefire return on investment for your money, in turn providing a practical, complete experience for the consumer. Nowadays, it's those same games that carry the highest risk. And while I do think all this is good for the industry in general, because it's going to force people to innovate, it's going to force companies to rethink their strategies, as a consumer, I think you need to be a little bit more cautious and a little smarter about where you spend your money and do your research and due diligence and not just rely on review scores or what the major publications have to say about these releases. Really look into it yourself, because for $70, $80, I mean, look at the new Star Wars Outlaws game at over $100. You have a right to know if the money that you're spending can allow you to truly experience what they're saying it can offer. So in conclusion, are AAA games worth your money? Well, it's like asking if a gourmet meal is worth the price compared to a home-cooked dinner. Both have their place. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, stay neeped.